Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's watches, and this week, like every week, we have a great variety for you guys and girls, and I've listened. A lot of people have said the drops are really great, but a lot of the watches are just becoming more and more expensive, and whilst it's great to see, you know, a lot of you guys and girls watching have been customers of ours for a very long time, back when all we pretty much did was sub £1,000 watches. That's pretty much all we ever did. So I have done my best to actually get quite a few affordable pieces in this drop. Actually, the majority of this drop is under £1,000, obviously with some pieces that are considerably over, but I've really done my best to provide some really great core pieces that we used to do, right? Micro brands that you just haven't heard of or very rarely see, from Brew to Vario to, you know, Unimatic, things like that. I've really done my best, so hopefully you guys and girls appreciate it. Now, I also want to apologise if there is a lot of background noise in this video. Just like last episode, it is very hot in the UK at the moment, so aircon is on, so there might be some background humming. I do apologise. But before we dive into the watches that are on the table, let's quickly talk about what's on wrist. I'm going to keep it very brief because I'm still waiting for an email from the customer that I bought this from with all of the details. So this is actually a Smith's W10 from around circa 1969, and it has a very interesting story that I look forward to bringing to you guys and girls once I can. I'm just waiting for all of the details, but it was a really lovely gentleman who sold this to me, and I'm very thankful as well. And I may be able to get another one from his brother, because his brother also got one in 1969, and I suspect it will be the same condition as this one, which is, by the way, immaculate. I've never seen one this good, so very exciting. But that is all of that out the way. Let's crack on with what you're here to see, and that is the watches. And we're going to start with the top row with the Omega Seamaster, a very, very cool London boutique edition. Let's take a closer look. So starting off with this absolutely incredible Omega Seamaster. This is a limited edition series that they did called the City Editions. And these were boutique only to the city, or to the boutiques in the said city where this one was from. So for example, what you're looking at is the London Boutique Edition, and that was only available in the London stores. And it's kind of cool really, because they're all different colours, the same generic style, or general style I should say, but as you flip them over, you're presented with something really unique and I think really interesting. As you can see, you've got the city skyline proudly shown right there across the sort of metal ring around the movement. You can see all the iconic locations of London, all proudly stated, and London Boutique Limited Edition as stated there, with the limited edition number on the side of the case. I just think it's a really cool thing that they did, and I really like the fact that from the front of the watch you'd have no idea that that's what this is, right? It's just a beautiful blue Omega Seamaster, and I think they've done a really great job with that. So I won't bore you with the reference to this one. It's a very long reference. You can see it on the website. Inside is the automatic Omega Co-Axial caliber 8800, 8800 that is, and this one's from August 2021 with its full box and paperwork, paired on its original strap with its original buckle, and it is in lightly worn condition, overall very great condition. And the blue on this is absolutely mesmerizing, a deep blue that in some lights looks dark black and in other lights pops to this sort of galvanic blue. Very, very nice overall piece. And again, nice to see the Seamaster in this classic shape, very reminiscent of the old Seamasters from the 60s and 70s, and they're some of my favourite pieces. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go, comfortably on my 7-inch wrist, as you can see. So this is 39.5mm by 44mm lug to lug, only 11.5mm thick and 20mm on the lug, so endless options if you're not a fan of this pairing. But to be honest, it looks absolutely perfect, and what a good looking piece this is. So go check out this one on the website today. Now on to a watch we recently sold, and it is such a great watch. That's the Omega Seamaster in green, the Co-Axial 42mm. Let's take a closer look at that one. Next up, this Omega Seamaster. This is the 42mm Co-Axial in this incredible green. Now, for those of you that know me, you'll know green actually isn't a colour I particularly like. However, when green is done right, it's a colour I absolutely love. And this, to me, is a really great green, a very dark, green. It looks black in some lights, and it's super glossy as well. It's just really, really attractive. Paired on its fitted Omega rubber strap, which again just looks really good on the watch. There is a bracelet from Omega that you can get for this watch, and there's also shorter rubber straps as well that you can get from Omega. Again, I won't bore you with the reference to this one. It's a long reference. As we flip it over, you can see a nice exhibition case back under that sticker that still remains on the watch. Inside is the automatic Omega Co-Axial caliber 8800-8800, and this one's from December 2022 with its box and paperwork, and it is in worn but very lightly worn condition. You won't find a better condition really unless you're buying new. I really like them. The 42mm scares some people. Some people think it's too big. To be honest, I think it works really well, and you'll see that when you see it on my wrist in a second. But again, the overall design, you either love it or you hate it with the helium escape valve. I've come to love it over time. At first, it did really bother me. I didn't like the extra crown there, but to be honest, it doesn't bother me at all anymore. Rolex sort of owned the automatic helium escape valve at the start, and Omega had this screw down attachment that they did, and they've just stuck true to it. It does the same thing, you just have to manually do it. That's if you're deep saturation diving. So if you're just using this watch, as most of you probably will, you never even have to know what that does as long as you keep it screwed down. So there's your on wrist and taut dimensions. And there we go, comfortably on my 7-inch wrist. Something to keep in mind, the tolerances on these buckles is so incredibly tight that it is quite a tight buckle. So you do have to move it manually sometimes. Just keep that in mind, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. There's nothing worse than a really loose buckle. So 42mm by 50mm lug to lug. 13.5mm thick and 20mm on the lug, so you could swap this out if you so wish. But to be honest, the fitted green, I think it works, and with summer coming up, this is a great summer watch. From there, we're going to go to one of my favourite watches on the table, and that is a Cartier Santos Galbee. We recently just got this back from full service and polish, and this is a complete box and paperwork from 2004. You do not see them like this often, and it's one I'm very excited to bring you guys and girls, so let's take a closer look. So a watch I am personally incredibly fond of, that is the Cartier Santos. This is the Santos Automatic in 29mm. The reference is 2319. Now, I have personally owned this watch multiple times over the years, and they used to be a hell of a lot cheaper than they are now. The sort of collectors have really jumped on these and made them much more difficult to find, especially in really nice condition. And to be honest, with box and papers, you just very rarely see them come up. And this one has box and papers from April 2004, and we recently got it back after a full service and a very light polish from our watchmakers. The watch looks absolutely incredible. That is a full bracelet as well, which is always nice to see, and as you can see, nice screw down case back as well. It's a great looking watch, original cabochon in the crown. As you can see, a blue stone proudly stated, and just a really nice textured dial. I believe they call it Coast de Genève or something like that. It's something along those lines. Really beautifully done, nice polished bezel, nice lines as well on the case. That's what makes the Santos so attractive. I would say the Tank is a very dressy watch, the Santos is a sporty dressy watch, something that you could wear with t-shirt and jeans, but also pair this with a suit, it's going to look incredible. Inside is an automatic ETA 2000-1, and there's not really much else to say about this, so let's show it on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Now, to me, that is a classy looking watch. I absolutely love how that looks on my wrist. Some people may find it too small, but to be honest, I think you need to come try it on if you think that, because this will totally blow you away in my opinion. So 29mm by 40mm lug to lug, only 8.5mm thick. That is incredibly thin, and 18mm on the lugs with a push bar to take the strap out. But be warned, if you want to put a leather strap on it, the bar and the case are incredibly close together, so you will need a strap made to fit this exactly. Hopefully that will make sense. But anyway, go check out this beautiful watch on the website today. From there, over to a new old stock Tudor Black Bay ETA Blue. Yes, this is new old stock with stickers still on the side, and it's a very early one from July 2015 with the dark blue dial, dark blue bezel, sorry, and the black dial. Really great watch, and as I say, new old stock. So let's take a closer look at this one. So next up, the Tudor Black Bay ETA Blue, as it's often called, because you have the blue bezel and the black dial. Now this one is a new old stock model. So what do we mean by that? That means this watch hasn't been worn since it was originally sold in 2015, hence the term new old stock. Now, something to keep in mind with new old stock, there may be a couple of hairline scratches here and there from storage over the years. It's quite common. You got to think, if it's been sat in a box, occasionally that box has been moved, the watch moves around in there, things can get scratched. But to be honest, looking at this one, I don't see any glaring marks at all. You can see the sticker still on the side. The case is just really, really good. Anything you probably see is my fingerprints at the moment, to be honest with you. He's still got some stickers present on the watch, including the case back, some on the clasp, and the barcode sticker on the side. It's a very, very cool thing to find. You don't see them like this often. So this is the reference 79220B, and what makes it called the ETA is the fact it has an ETA 2824 inside, which is a very iconic workhorse movement from ETA. Another way to show that is that it has the smiley font, as it's often called, and that is the text. You'll have to forgive the autofocus. This camera's been playing up a little bit recently, so I do apologise, but you can see the smiley face text down there at 6 o'clock. It's called smiley face because it's obviously curved like a smiley face, which is very sweet. Nice screw down crown, and it does come with all of its links, and I believe the extra strap as well, so do refer to the box photo for that. And it's from July 2015 with its full box and paperwork. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go, paired on my 7-inch wrist. Now these ETAs are bigger than your traditional like Black Bay 58 and certainly bigger than the 54, but they still wear relatively well. You know, they are on the thicker side, but I've always found these surprisingly comfortable. So what you're looking at is 41mm by 50mm lug to lug, 12mm thick and 22mm on the lug, so quite large or large width on the lugs, which makes it wear that much bigger, but to be honest, it really works with the overall design. So go check out this one on the website today. Now I want to think a little bit left field with the Bremont Project Possible Limited Edition in titanium, a great watch with a great cause behind it as well. So let's take a closer look at this one. Next up, we have this intriguing watch from Bremont. This is the Bremont Project Possible, as it's so called, and you can see the Project Possible motif, if you call it that, or emblem logo, proudly stated on the dial behind all the sort of hands and the Bremont logo. It takes up the majority of the dial in the background. It looks really, really cool. I'm not going to go through the whole Project Possible thing. We've done a little write-up on the website, so I would highly recommend going over and giving that a read if you are interested. But we're going to talk about sort of the nuts and bolts, if you will. So this is a titanium Bremont that features a very interesting bronze inlay bezel with a nice blue ceramic inlay right there, which just absolutely pops and looks great. You've got gold tone on the inside of the dial with the hands and the indices, and a nice vibrant yellow GMT hand, so it is a GMT as well. This is part of, I believe they call it the S500 range, so you've got the crown up here at 2 o'clock and this interesting and unique sort of crown guard system, as you can see. The titanium of the case makes it this sort of warmer steel colour, so the only way to describe it is a much darker grey stainless steel, and obviously being incredibly light. As we flip it over, you've got the automatic Bremont sign movement with all the coordinates proudly stated on the rotor, which is a nice little touch. I won't bore you with the name of the automatic movement that Bremont call it, but it's basically a modified ETA done to chronometer spec, a different rotor, different base plate as well. This one's from August 2021, comes with its original box paperwork, original strap and buckle, plus a nice light blue rubber strap as well, which looks pretty cool on the watch and contrasts nicely against the darker blue of the colour of the watch itself. But let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. So Bremont are bigger watches, that's something to keep in mind. These are not small dainty watches at all. They are for people primarily with bigger wrists, so if you've got the wrist to support it, you're going to absolutely love this. So it's 43mm by 50.5mm lug to lug, 16mm thick. So whilst that is on the thicker side, it does wear relatively well because of the super curved lugs and the way that thickness is sort of hidden with the case. So as I say, 16mm thick and 22mm on the lugs. This sort of green, almost camo strap looks really good with the watch, to be honest. So go check it out on the website today. From there over to a 90s Tag Heuer SEL automatic chronometer. A very, very cool watch. The pre-Link era. So for those of you that know the Tag Heuer Link, that's a watch I believe they still do today. The SEL was basically predating that with this awesome design by a very prominent designer. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it will be on the website. So let's take a closer look at this one. Next up is this awesome Tag Heuer. So very rarely seen reference, to be honest, especially in nice condition, the SEL range. Now, as I said in the intro, the SEL range is basically the predecessor of the Tag Heuer Link, which most of you probably know. And you can tell very quickly with the Link design of this bracelet that the Link evolved from this SEL range. Now, it's a very unique design. It definitely won't be for everyone. It's very futuristic, avant-garde, as Tag Heuer themselves would say, and I think it's really cool. I am actually a big fan of the design. So the reference to this one is WG5111-P0, and inside is a chronometer spec automatic movement. Now, something to keep in mind is that was chronometer spec when it was originally manufactured in the 1990s. I would not expect chronometer today, to be honest. Even having it fully serviced by Tag Heuer, they will do their best, and you might get chronometer for a little while, but it will fall out of that chronometer rating fairly fast. It's like a vintage car, expecting it to do the exact same miles per gallon as was advertised in the 80s, and expecting it to still do those same miles per gallon today. You know, you just don't expect that from the engine. It's the same with watches. Screw down crown, which is quite unique for sort of Tag Heuer of this period, original crown as well. It's on its original bracelet. It will fit around a 7-inch wrist, so that's just something to keep in mind. And as we flip it over, you can see all of the case back with the signature and everything like that as well. So not a huge amount more to say on this watch other than showing it on wrist. You have got nice applied dial, date over there, nice rotating steel bezel. It has been worn, there is some wear, but nothing major at all, to be honest. It's one you could definitely pick up and enjoy. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And this is where this watch really shines, in my opinion. What a cool and unique looking timepiece. So 38mm by 43mm look to lug, just under 10mm thick at 9.5mm thick, and 20mm at the lugs. That's the distance here and here. But obviously you probably won't be swapping this out for a leather strap or anything like that. This is a watch you definitely keep on the bracelet, and that's part of its charm and design. So go check out this watch on the website today. From there over to probably the best value proposition on the table, I would say that is this Oris Big Crown automatic day date. A very cool looking watch on a bracelet, and it's in fantastic condition. It's been professionally redone and it just looks brilliant. So let's take a closer look at this one. Next up with the Oris, this is the Big Crown automatic day date, as you can see with the Big Crown, hence the name. You have this very flat brushed bezel with a polished bevel. That was a lot of B's trying to figure that one out. And the thing I like the most about this one is that dial. Look at that, a matte black dial with the day and date in sort of the very interesting positions. It does add for really nice symmetry, to be honest. And again, they've really mastered the symmetry of this dial. I think it looks really great. So the reference to this one is 7500. It does compared on its bracelet that will fit about a 6.8, 6.9 inch wrist. And it's been really well finished, or refinished I should say, to make the case and bracelet all look fantastic. That is a straight bar end link for the bracelet, so you could swap it out into a leather strap and it would look pretty good as well. Now as we flip it over, you're presented with the iconic red rotor, and inside is the automatic Oris caliber 635, which is basically an ETA or Solita movement, and this one's from circa 2005. Doesn't come with any box and paperwork, unfortunately, but it is priced as such, and under £500 I really don't think you can go wrong with a watch like this. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. So there you go. What you're looking at is 40mm by 48.5mm big. Now, at first when I put this on, I did not expect that to be 40mm. It wears so incredibly well, and I think this is one of those watches that really will look good on a wide range of wrist sizes. Only 10mm thick and 20mm at the lug, so if you want to swap this out for a cool leather or rubber strap, it would look really great on it as well. So go check out this one on the website today. From there over to the Unimatic U2 F in grey, a very good looking piece, limited to 500 pieces total. The U2s are interesting. You either really like them or you don't. The way they wear on wrist is quite unique, so let's take a closer look at this one. Next up, the Unimatic U2 F. Now I want to apologise in advance for this video and the photos. It is a very difficult watch to capture properly because of how heavily domed that crystal is. As you can hopefully see if my autofocus will want to focus on it, it is domed beyond belief, and it distorts that entire dial, which looks absolutely amazing in the metal, but it makes it an absolute ball ache to basically film, so I do apologise. The reference is U2-F, and inside is the automatic Seiko NH35A. This one's limited to 500 pieces, and as always it's got a nicely decorated case back. Screw down crown as well, and this one's from February 2021 with its box and paperwork, and it comes paired on its original Unimatic two-piece grey sort of fabric strap, which looks really fantastic on the watch. really works with the overall design. I'm not going to spend too long on this one. I've had a lot of Unimatics, they're fantastic. The U2 is a watch you either love or you hate because of the shape of the case. It is very straight and very long, which means if you have a bigger wrist, it looks fantastic, and if you have a tiny wrist, this is probably going to look a bit odd on your wrist, so just keep that in mind. But let's show it on wrist and taught dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Now, I think I can get away with the design and the lugs personally. I think if I had about a 6.5-inch wrist, I would probably find this would look a bit odd. Let me know down in the comments what you think. But 37.5mm by 47.5mm lug to lug, 15mm thick. Now do keep in mind a lot of that thickness is coming in with that domed crystal, and 22mm on the lugs, so endless options there as well. But go check out this one on the website today. Now on to some Brew watches. We have two. We're going to start with the metric steel dial chronograph with the highlights of blue. I love this. Their logo is a bean, hence the name Brew. Very cool, and they actually have timing on the dial with the chronograph to time the perfect espresso, I believe. Kind of cool. So let's take a closer look at this one. Now on to the Brew metric steel dial. I have been fortunate enough to have a few of these since they've released them. They've done some crazy colourful dials, and this is probably the most sort of classic of the lot, with that really nice silver dial and those little pops of blue that when you catch the right light, they look absolutely fantastic. I'm a big fan of this sort of TV style tonneau shaped case, and the way this bracelet looks like a real work of art against the watch. I'm a big fan of this personally, and again that coffee bean logo, it gets me every time. So this is the RTR026, and inside is a Mecha Quartz Seiko caliber VK68. So now what that means is it looks like a mechanical chronograph, as you can see, it beating away there. It also snaps back like a mechanical chronograph, but it is completely quartz. So it has mechanical components with the levers basically all attached to a quartz movement. Very interesting and a very nice way of doing it. As you can see, you've got a ticking away quartz seconds down there. Date over there as well. It's all nicely done. As we flip it over, nice design on the case back as well. Very simple, and a nice bracelet and design overall, with these links that are removable, including adjustment on the clasp as well. Again, you'll have to forgive me for the camera work. So yeah, this one's from 2023 with its box and paperwork. Let's show on wrist and taught dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Now this is one of the reasons this watch has been, or this model line for them has been so successful, and that's because it wears so bloody well on the wrist. What you're looking at is 36mm by 41.5mm lug to lug, only 11mm thick and 20mm at the lugs that's on the inside there that you could swap out if you wanted to, but to be honest, this watch, in my opinion, is made to be on the bracelet. So go check it out on the website today. From that Brew over to the Retrograph in teal, a very nice looking piece with a beautiful colour dial. It works so well on this grey leather strap that it comes on. It comes with an aftermarket bracelet as well, which is pretty much identical to the Brew bracelet they also sold for the watch. So you get both options, which is nice. Let's take a closer look. So next up is this awesome Brew Retrograph with this very vibrant teal dial. Now they didn't make many of these, and they didn't make them for very long either, so you don't often see this teal dial come up. So if you've been in the market for one of these, and this specific one, I would say snap it up before you miss the opportunity. As you can see, it comes paired on a nice grey leather strap with Brew stated on the buckle, and inside the box is a aftermarket bracelet which is almost identical to the one that Brew also sold this watch on, so you get both options, which I think is kind of nice. Nice signed crown, nice pushers, nice case, everything about it is really nicely done, and again done to a very high standard, especially when you consider the price. Simple case back as well, and inside is the Seiko quartz caliber VK64 hybrid, which again is that hybrid mechanical quartz movement, so it ticks almost like a mechanical chronograph when in reality it's powered by a battery, which again is really cool. Date down there at 6 o'clock, that's a 24-hour dial over there, and at 9 o'clock is a 60-minute calculator or totalizer for the chronographs. So there is no running seconds, so you could leave it running if you wanted to, or just have it as I would personally with no running seconds. I think that looks really cool. This one's from August 2020 with its box and paperwork, so let's show on wrist and taught dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist, a very cool looking watch and super comfortable as well. This wrist shape just lends to be worn on the wrist, you know, in a nice way. 38mm by 41.5mm lug to lug, only 11mm thick and 22mm at the lug, so endless options for swapping this one out. But to be honest, this pairing, it works super well, and I don't really know what else you'd pair a teal dial with like this. Maybe black could look quite striking as well. But anyway, go check it out on the website today. From there over to the Vario, or Vario, however you pronounce it, Empire Season Summer Blue Limited Edition. They only made 25 of these total, so I doubt you'll see another one. It has a really cool blue dial, so let's take a closer look at this one. So next up, the most affordable watch in this week's drop, and it happens to be one I think is super cool, and again, for the price, I don't think you can go wrong. With summer around the corner, this would make a great little summer pickup to enjoy in the sun, having it blaring down on this dial, just making it pop and do crazy things, as you can see. So this is the Vario, however you want to say it. I'm going to say Vario Empire Seasons. As we flip it over, you can see the Empire State Building right there, beautifully decorated with almost an Art Deco styling around it. Designed in Singapore, really beautifully done, and limited to only 25 pieces total, so very limited edition, not like 2,500 as we often see from certain brands. This is truly limited at 25 in the world, which I think is really cool. Inside is the automatic Seiko caliber NH38A, which is a very reliable automatic movement. Again, at this price point, I wouldn't expect anything more. The dial is beautifully finished. You've got multiple types of finish on the dial, which just lends itself for playing with the light and just looking really good. This one is from December 2020, and it does come with its box and paperwork, paired on its original strap, which is a very nice supple strap as well, very comfortable. So let's show on wrist and tour dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. As you can see, really nicely proportioned at 38mm by 45.5mm lug to lug, 11.5mm thick and 20mm at the lug, so endless options for swapping this one out. Plus you've got a push pin hole on the case to make it nice and easy to do so. But this pairing works really well. Maybe a dark blue rubber would look great for the summer, so go check this one out on the website today. From there over to a Timex. This is the S1 by Heuer Galbee. He is the head of design, I believe, for Timex, and he's the one who's brought it into this new era that seems to be doing really great for him. And this is his original creation, the S1 with this scalloped case. Really interesting design, so let's take a closer look at this one. Next up, we have this awesome Timex S1 by Heuer Galbee. He is the design and creator basically of modern Timex and has taken it into the new realm, and this is one of his original designs that he's named the S1. Very futuristic, and to be honest, it's a design that I wouldn't have been surprised to see come out of a much larger design house other than Timex, because the finishing to the case is fantastic. These scallop lugs that just really lend themselves to a futuristic design. The dial, this sort of midnight blue, which is multiple coloured in the sense that in certain lights it's very black, in other lights it pops. It's really nicely done. A jewel there in the centre of the dial. Yeah, just really beautifully done. Again, like not something you expect to see from Timex, in my opinion. I won't bore you with the reference. Behind that exhibition caseback is an automatic Miyota with a modified rotor. Nicely done, nicely decorated, and all very simple. You have a quick release strap system, which is nicely done, and a very, again, futuristic strap with this black rubber strap. And the way the strap works, it can take a minute to get used to it, but you basically thread it through as you would a normal strap, go to the hole you want to go in, thread it through underneath, and then you can lock this in like so you get extra stability. Again, I apologize about the autofocus, but you get extra stability by it also being locked in place, and it keeps this down. You know, a lot of people have that problem with straps where this pokes out and it becomes very irritating, whereas you're not going to have that problem with this watch because it's going to stay stuck down in the recess of the strap itself. Really nicely done. So this one's from 2022 with its box and papers, and let's show on wrist and tour dimensions. And here we go, comfortably on my 7-inch wrist, and as you can see, I've utilized the locking feature, which has worked pretty well. So what you're looking at on dimensions is 41mm by 49.5mm lug to lug, 12.5mm thick and 20mm on the lug, so you could swap this out if you so desire for something else, but I think it works really well. Again, the futuristic design with the futuristic design, so go check it out on the website today. So there you have it, guys and girls, 12 watches, a lot of affordable watches this drop. I really do hope you appreciate it, and next week I've tried to do a few affordables, but to be honest, it's a pretty heavy hitting drop next next week. There's some crazy stuff in there, so keep an eye out for that one. I think you guys and girls are going to really like it, and I'm going to be cracking on with the photography of that one after this video, actually. So yeah, we'll be cracking on. As always, remember to follow on social media at Instagram at Kibble Watches. We post what's coming soon. We also have a broadcast list on Instagram, highlights reel. It will explain how to join that if you so desire. But thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you all again next time.